everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tiffany Benson, one part of Team Benson, and today we are talking about how to care for your garden during the monsoon season. We're even going to venture out there, even though it is 105 and pretty humid. So guys, it's finally happening, the monsoon. After last year and the whole #nonsoon that Arizona got, it was bad. It was a torturous summer that everything just burned up and hated its life with city water. But we are getting a monsoon, and with the rain, it is bringing in a lot of just good healthiness for our gardens. So let's go outside and let's talk about a little bit of care.
All right, guys, so this is my garden. It's where everything's at over there after a nice hard rain. And a little bit of wind, so you'll see some shade cloth blowing everywhere. So one thing you'll notice is that your garden will really perk up. Like looking over here at my basil, it just kind of perked up, blossomed out, and really started to look a lot nicer. I'm gonna go through and see what got a lot of rain, what didn't get enough rain, and things that didn't get enough rain, I did put out a little bucket to collect some rainwater, and I'm gonna go ahead and water those things that didn't get enough rain. But the one thing I don't want to do is come in and massively water everything, because I don't want to put too much water in the soil and then get fungus gnats.
So you want to make sure you're not over watering your garden for two reasons. One, because the rain is going to bring in a lot of just minerals and nitrogen and all those different things with the rain. And you want that rainwater to be at the surface and a little bit below the surface where the roots can be able to get all that nutrients from it. One of the reasons why your garden perks up and does so well after a rain is because it's giving the garden what the garden naturally needs, instead of you putting in like artificial and fertilizers or fish fertilizer and different things like that. The rain gives your garden everything that it needs, and it makes your garden super happy. So the last thing you want to do is then take a garden hose and take all of that nutrients, push it even further down to where the roots can't get to it, and then just have a layer of city water. That doesn't make a happy garden. The other thing that overwatering can risk is the increase of gnats. So if your garden is sopping wet, which during the monsoon, you don't know when it's gonna rain and when it's not gonna rain. You need to really take a look at the forecast and really think about, okay, how much rain did I get? Is my garden really still soaked at the end of the day before you get ready to water the next day? Check your soil. Make sure your soil is not sopping wet. If it's still sopping wet, don't water that day. It's gonna be okay if you go through multiple days without having to water your garden, because you don't know how much rain you got unless you're measuring it, or how much rain your garden soaked in. If it already soaked in enough and it has what it needs, let it be. So also don't forget that for people like me that really love their garden and that really want their garden to have the best rainwater it possibly can have, you're going to be playing a game of shade cloth, no shade cloth. So speaking of that, we need shade cloth, so let's go put it back on.
So the next thing I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to put back up my shade cloth. As you can see, I took it down so that everything could get a nice soaking, but I want to make sure that for my plants that don't like the triple digits, not this section. This section's fine with triple digits, but for everything else, I want to make sure that it is covered nicely when it gets super hot out, because although we're getting rain, it's going to be getting really hot.
Now, I will probably get the question of, can the rain get through the shade cloth? And yes, it can, but there's still, you want it to be able to really soak through. So removing the shade cloth is best for you to let that rain really get in there. Now, the next thing you want to do is any starts that you had for the monsoon, this is the best time to put them out. So like your okras and your squashes and different things like that. Go ahead, put them out, and then make sure you get them started so that they can get that rainwater and really get themselves going and established, because after the monsoon comes the heat. And so you want to make sure that those plants are good and established and have good deep roots before the heat really comes. The next thing you also want to do is make sure that you have all of your seeds that you wanted to plant, like your beans, your cowpeas, not your regular green beans or your regular pole beans, but your cowpeas or your cowpea green beans, like my rattlesnake pole beans that I'm going to be putting out. Those are cowpeas that can be used as a green bean. So those, you want to go ahead and get those seeds in the ground. Any melons or anything like that that you want to start, go ahead and get those in the ground too as well, or get them started. My melons tend to get eaten when they're little babies, so I like to give them a fighting chance inside and then put them out later. But I also do put some seeds out just in case nothing wants to top them.
So mine are looking a little bit crazy, but I did plant the okra. This one looks a little bit better. And then I also planted the Malabar spinach. And over here is more Malabar spinach. So sorry guys, that sound you hear are the cicadas. They are out. They love monsoon season. And it was weird last year not really hearing them. So I planted the cantaloupe in here. Now since my melons love to get eaten when they're little starts, I actually started them inside so that I can put them right here. I did put one seed in the ground just for good measure, but I do want to be able to protect those, so I did start them inside. And then the last thing I did was over here, I put all of my my rattlesnake pole beans. So those ones are a cowpea that you can use as a green bean. I added them there, and then I also added them next to my Armenian cucumber and next to my butternut squash, because I think I can do kind of like a three sisters deal going on there with the corn, the squash / Armenian, and the beans. The Armenian will just be the fourth sister. And then I also planted them alongside here of my loofah, because I just really don't know if this is going to be the year I grow loofah, guys.
Now, another question that I got was about sterilizing the soil and if you have to throw out your soil. I actually have a bed that I am going to be, pots that I'm going to be dealing with sterilization in right now.
So I did get a question about what do you do when you have gnats and if you just throw away the soil. That's something that I do not do. I never throw away the soil because it is expensive. So what I do is this area, now that my midget cantaloupe is done, which I will show you guys what it looked like on the inside, because I started eating it and almost forgot to show you guys. So since this is now done, I am going to leave this part of my beds open, because this is where I get fungus nets, because the pots kind of hold more water being up against the ground. And I'm just going to let the sun bake this area to sterilize it. So guys, I almost forgot to show you guys my midget cantaloupe. I cut it open and I was getting ready to eat it, and then I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to show people what it looks like on the inside. So that's it. It has a ton of seeds that I am going to be able to save, and I do save my seeds every year for my midget cantaloupe because this is my favorite. And one day I will have a huge row of just midget cantaloupes.
Now, when it comes to letting the sun sterilize your soil, you want to make sure that there is something still covering it. So like wood chips or mulch or something like that, still have something on top of it, because otherwise the soil or the sun will really burn in that soil and dry it out. You want to not so much water it either. So that area I'm going to not water it for at least a day. That way it can really kind of dry out, and that top layer can kind of dry out. Your worms or anything like that are going to go down to the bottom and not up to the top, so they'll be safe. So you're really just trying to get like any type of fungus nets or fungus or anything like that that is going on or like happening dead that's in there. So letting that top layer kind of dry out is going to help that. I don't want the whole thing to dry out, so I do want to water it, but just that top layer, I want to let that dry out before starting adding water, because if you just add water, it's just going to let the fungus nets populate and grow and live. Now, if you have a really, really bad infestation of something, you can take out half the soil and put it in your compost bin, because most of the infection is going to be at the top of that pot, or infestation will be at the top of that pot. you can put that in your compost bin, or you can take a tarp and put over top of it and then let the sun bake the soil on the tarp. That's going to really heat up your soil. So I always let that be like the last case scenario, because that could potentially kill your worms depending on how deep your pot is or how deep your bed is, because it's going to create a lot of heat, but it will sterilize the soil completely. The other thing that you can do, and this is like, you know, if it's like something really, really bad and you just really, really are uncertain about it, is that you can treat that area with a little bit of peroxide and water. And then that way it will kill anything that is going on in the soil. That peroxide and water will kill everything on that top layer that it touches. So that is including any type of good bacteria and good fungus that's growing in your soil. And that's one of the reasons why I say it's a total last resort, because, you know, you don't want to kill what you've been working so hard for. Now, I will say that if you get black leaf spot on any of your peppers in a pot, throw away that soil. That soil is completely bad and you're not going to be able to grow certain things in that soil. I've had black leaf spot in one of my big beds, and it took 3 years before I could put peppers in that area again. And as you can see, my shishito, it's growing tall. There's no spots on it, thank God, but it's not producing the way that it should. So that soil is still kind of getting back to the point to where it needs to. Black leaf spot is a horrible, horrible, horrible disease in your soil. So removing the soil, especially if it's in a pot, I would just throw it away. I wouldn't put it in your compost bin or anything like that. I would completely get rid of it. Maybe just put it in a different part of the yard or something where you're not going to be growing any type of vegetables in it. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is pruning. This is the time that you could get powdery mildew on your plants. And I'll put in some pictures of powdery mildew so that you can see what it looks like. Now, I avoid powdery mildew by really, really pruning my plants. And also, if there is a plant that is not producing, that is a squash, melon, or a cucumber, and usually you can tell the types of leaves that'll get powdery mildew, and you'll be able to tell those types of leaves that are squash or cucumber, like they're like a little fuzzy or something like that. You want to make sure you're heavily pruning those, any ones that look a little bit sick. So anything that are starting to yellow, anything that are burnt up, or if that plant's done, just go ahead and pull that plant entirely out. You don't need to keep watering a plant that's going to not be producing anything, so you don't need to be wasting water, and you don't want to risk the chance of the plant getting infected, because once the plant has made fruit and it has made all of its fruit, which it's not done, or it's not going anymore, it's not flowering anymore, it's done, it's produced its fruit, it's done its job, it's going to start attracting bugs and attracting things to kill it. So you want to make sure that you just go ahead and take that out. My midget cantaloupe, it made its cantaloupe, it's over it, and so I'm going to go in and I'm going to take it out before it starts introducing pests into my garden. So that's all the tips that I have. I hope you guys are enjoying the rain. Hopefully you guys are getting some rain and cooling down. I think it's hilarious that we count like 105 as like a cool down. Like I was like, oh, thank God it's only 105 today. So that's fun. But until next time, make sure you guys are growing yourselves a garden, because even a small space can provide you with tons of food. Bye guys.